Good morning. I'm Emily Ikeda in for Joe and Savannah. We begin this hour with the brutal cold snap that's gripping much of the country, bringing below freezing temperatures and blankets of heavy snow. This morning, millions are waking up under winter storm warnings and advisories as a surge of Arctic air causes temperatures to plunge and a series of snowstorms slam the Midwest and East Coast. The winter weather also causing problems at the nation's airports. So far this morning, hundreds of flights are already delayed and dozens more canceled. And the icy conditions are also causing problems for drivers up and down the East Coast as hundreds of accidents have been reported over the past few days. And out west in Colorado, nearly 70 avalanches have been reported since Friday because of heavy snow. NBC News meteorologist Angie Lassman is standing by with a complete look at your forecast. But first, let's check in with NBC News correspondent Erin McLaughlin in frigid Poughkeepsie, New York. Erin, good morning.
Hey there. Well, the cold is biting here in Poughkeepsie. It really cuts through you. It's 5 degrees. That's near a record low, part of this icy blast that's currently gripping the Northeast, leaving roads slick and dangerous. City leaders in Boston yesterday outlined their plan to keep residents safe in the months ahead, with 175 pieces of snow clearing equipment in-house and 800 more on standby in the event of a larger storm. And then out west, officials in Colorado sounding the alarm as dozens of dangerous avalanches reported in recent days, with much of the state sitting in the avalanche danger zone. This brutal weather contributing to chaos at airports across the country, stranding frustrated passengers with more than 5,000 flight delays piling up on Monday. This is all with less than 2 weeks to go until the start of winter. Back to you.
Erin McLaughlin and all of her layers, thank you so much. Let's bring in meteorologist Angie Lassman for the latest on what's ahead in this brutal winter blast. Angie, emphasis on the brutal. Good morning.
Yeah, emphasis on those layers, too. Good morning to you. We've got temperatures, of course, into the single digits when you add in those feels-like temperatures. Notice Detroit just 6 degrees right now. As we look to Marquette, 8. We've got teens across parts of Minneapolis and Chicago for what it feels like. And as far east as New York City, similar story. Teens for our actual and feels-like temperature, and then just 4 degrees for what it feels like in Boston this morning. We stay in the freezer as we get into the afternoon hours across much of the east as well. Temperatures running below normal from Boston down to Columbia, but some milder conditions finally settling in for folks across the plains. You'll see 40s for places like the northern plains, and then we start to kind of get this next shot of cool air working its way in. So we see temperatures, a big drop of temperatures as we get into those same regions for tomorrow, and then we'll finally start to see that even chillier air by the time we wrap up our work week and head into this weekend. So we go from the teens in Minneapolis on Thursday to just 10 degrees on Friday and an actual temperature of 1 degree by the time Saturday rolls around. This will impact folks across the Midwest, across the Great Lakes, Indianapolis into the teens by the time Saturday rolls around, and folks across places like Pittsburgh hovering into those 20s and 30s and then eventually mid-20s as we round out our weekend. We, on top of that, of course, also have those winter alerts up as we gear up for this next system. 22 million people stretching across the plains, the Great Lakes, and parts of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And you can see kind of this batch of snow that's working across the Great Lakes, and then this next secondary shot of rain and a wintry mix, as well as some snow across parts of those northern plains. So here's what's going on. We've got a clipper system that's going to eject into the northern plains. This is going to really ramp up that snow from North Dakota to Michigan. But notice we've also got a bit of that snow kind of working through parts of the interior Northeast from that first area of low pressure in an extending front. That's going to leave us a little busy, and that's why we have those winter alerts for interior Northeast today. But by tomorrow, that other system starts to work its way to the east, and we've got, essentially rain up and down the I-95 corridor, and then basically snow everywhere else. So this is going to cause some travel troubles for folks across that region as we get into tomorrow. And by the time we get through Thursday, some of those highest amounts you can see downwind of the lakes, of course. That's where we'll see upwards of 6, maybe 8 inches in some spots, but a good dose of snow, especially for the interior Northeast, and again, downwind of those Great Lakes. You can see anywhere from 3 to 5 inches across parts of the Midwest. Detroit ending up with 1 to 2 inches. So, Emily, what this means, a little bit of a difficult kind of travel day ahead of us across the plains, and then tomorrow for the Northeast.
Yeah, Chicago has just been absolutely hammered so far this season.
Yeah, more to come.
Thanks so much. All right, great. President Trump is heading to the battleground state of Pennsylvania today, where he's expected to deliver a major speech on the economy. It's an issue that's become front and center for voters since his return to office. According to a recent NBC News poll, just 30% of registered voters believe the president is living up to expectations on inflation and cost of living. 66% say he's fallen short. NBC News political reporter Megan Leibowitz joins us now for more on this. Hey, Megan. So the polls underscoring a lack of satisfaction with the Trump administration's efforts on the economy. What can we expect from his speech today? What do you think his message is going to be?
Hey, yeah, good morning. So the White House has billed this as a speech where the president is going to talk about his economic accomplishments and take a look also at what's to come. Now, a White House official told NBC News that we can expect this to be similar to a campaign-style economic stump speech. Now, the White House has consistently argued that the president's policies are helping the economy, and they've also pushed back and argued that they're trying to undo what they view as a negative impact that the Biden administration's policies have had on the economy. Take a listen to how President Trump talked about this just yesterday.
We inherited a mess, affordability, but you can call it affordability or anything you want, but the Democrats caused the affordability problem, and we're the ones that are fixing it. So it's a very simple statement. They caused it, we're fixing it.
So as you mentioned, polling indicates that voters are not satisfied with how the Trump administration is handling the economy. I want to also point you back to that previous poll that you mentioned. That poll also indicated that voters thought that the administration had fallen short on the economy and looking out for the middle class as well. Now, this is also coming in the context as we're a year away from the midterm elections. That's still a long way away. But politicians here in Washington are already starting to think about what this means and how their parties should effectively talk about issues like affordability that have proven to repeatedly be a very mobilizing issue for voters here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about something else that's also buzzing. The president's $12 billion aid package to farmers that he announced yesterday. Where is this money coming from, and how is it expected to help the agriculture sector?
Yeah, so the president announced this move yesterday. He said that this would come from tariff revenue. Now, the aid package includes up to $11 billion in one-time payments through a new Agriculture Department program. And the department also said yesterday that they're planning to hold back about $1 billion for specialty crops. Later on, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins said that the aid would go out by the end of February. Now, just to take a step back here, this is all coming in the context of U.S.-China trade disputes. Now, China for months had stopped buying U.S. soybeans, and that had hit U.S. soybean farmers particularly hard because China's the top overseas market for soybeans. Now, China recently started buying U.S. soybeans again, but that's the context that we're seeing a decision like this be made amidst those trade tensions that have been pretty high for the past couple of months here.
And Megan, I also want to talk about something in the tech world. The president said he will allow tech giant NVIDIA to sell some of its AI chips in China. That's a reversal of current policy. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that's right. President Trump announced this yesterday in a post to Truth Social. He said that he informed President Xi of China that the U.S. would allow this move. Now, the chips in question here are a generation behind NVIDIA's latest chips. And the president also said that he doesn't, that he mentioned this to China's President Xi Jinping, and that the president responded, quote, positively. Now, President Trump also said in his post to Truth Social that these products would be shipped, quote, under conditions that allow for continued strong national security. Now, this is significant because, as you mentioned, it's a reversal in the U.S. allowing these products to be shipped into China. So it's a pretty big move here, Emily.
Megan, thanks so much for breaking all of it down. Appreciate it. Congress reconvenes on Capitol Hill today to face the looming health care crisis facing millions of Americans. On Thursday, the Senate is set to vote on a Democratic proposal to extend Obamacare subsidies for 3 years. Those tax credits, which help millions afford health care, are due to expire in just 22 days. Senate Majority Leader John Thune promised to take up the vote in exchange for Democrats' help in reopening the government last month. But their plan looks all but certain to fail, with Republicans calling a clean extension a non-starter.
Republicans have made it very clear that we would like to work with Democrats to address the affordability of health care and find solutions that actually reduce costs. But as Democrats have made clear with this, quote, clean bill, they're not really after health care solutions. They're after a political issue to attempt to batter Republicans with during this next election year.
So with health insurance premiums already set to rise 26% on average next year, policy analysts say more than 20 million Americans could see their monthly payments more than double if the tax credits are allowed to expire. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona joins me now with the latest. Mel, good morning. We heard Leader Thune mention the midterms there. A new Gallup poll shows approval of the 2010 Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is higher now than it's ever been. 57, you see it on your screen there, % of Americans say they support the legislation. That boost came from independents whose support went up 10% this year. Given its popularity and what these subsidies mean for so many people, why is the expectation that this proposal, do you think, to extend those Obamacare credits will fail, Mel?
Yeah, good morning, Emily. It is a great question. The law might be popular in the country. It is not popular, though, with the Republican base. GOP lawmakers have long viewed Obamacare as bad policy. They say the fact that people even need enhanced subsidies in order to be able to afford their premiums shows just how broken the law is. But that being said, so many Republicans and people in red states actually do rely on the Affordable Care Act to get their health care. And so there was some willingness among Republicans to extend these subsidies, but only if there were significant reforms and only if it was done on a short-term basis in order to give themselves more time to come up with a more permanent solution. However, Democrats, even though there were some bipartisan discussions about what bill they were going to put on the floor Thursday, ultimately what they decided to do was to put a 3-year clean extension, aka no reforms, no add-ons, on the House floor of those Obamacare subsidies. And so that is why we're going to see likely zero Republican support on Thursday. And it's unclear whether Republicans are even going to put up their own plan this week.
So there are a couple of things going on right now. In addition to the Democratic plan, there are also multiple Republican health care proposals floating around in both chambers. So why aren't Republicans uniting around a single plan?
Well, it's not for lack of trying. There have been multiple proposals floating around. One of them from Susan Collins and Bernie Moreno would extend the subsidies, but it would include additional reforms like caps on income and eligibility requirements. There's also another plan that's from Bill Cassidy. He is a doctor. He's on a key committee. That would actually replace the money that is used for subsidies and funnel that money into health savings account. That's something that President Trump has been talking about. There are multiple plans sort of mirroring that in different forms and fashions. But so far, Republicans have not been able to coalesce around a plan. And for those of us who have been on Capitol Hill for a long time covering this issue, it's almost no surprise because healthcare has long vexed Republicans. They tried and failed to repeal and replace Obamacare during President Trump's first term in 2017. And the other problem here for Republicans is they only recently started trying to even come up with a replacement plan, but the clock is ticking.
Let's talk timeline, Mel. When is the real cutoff for lawmakers to pass some kind of health care deal?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Some lawmakers say that they have until the end of this year. That is when the Affordable Care Act subsidies technically expire. But there are some other lawmakers who say the real deadline is the end of January because that is when there is another government funding deadline. And so some Democrats view that as a key leverage point. But the reality is open enrollment already started in November. Many Americans have made their selections. Some of them ultimately saw the prices and decided to walk away from getting health care because it was too expensive. And so the time is running out for Congress to act. Does not look like a solution, though, is coming anytime soon.
All right, we'll all be waiting. Melanie Zanona, thank you so much. The Supreme Court seems poised to give President Trump another victory that furthers the reach of executive power. On Monday, the justices in the conservative majority court heard arguments in Slaughter versus Trump, a case that focuses on whether the president has the power to fire members of independent federal agencies. It's centered around Rebecca Kelly Slaughter, a member of the Federal Trade Commission who was fired by Trump in March. The 1914 law that set up the FTC says that members can only be removed for, quote, inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance in office. At the time of her firing, President Trump did not cite any of these reasons. He only said her services were, quote, inconsistent with his administration's priorities. Even though this case is specifically focused on Slaughter, a ruling in favor of the president could vastly expand presidential power. NBC News legal affairs reporter Gary Grumbach and legal analyst Misty Maris join me now with more on this. Good morning to you both. Gary, let's start with you. Get us up to speed with what happened at the court yesterday and what the justices seem to have revealed with their questions in this case.
Yeah, over the past 11 months, the Supreme Court has allowed President Trump to remove pretty much anyone he's tried to remove from the Merit Systems Protection Board, from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, from the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. But the Federal Trade Commission is different, and that's because there's a 1935 Supreme Court decision that says quite literally the president can't remove somebody from the FTC. Now, the court's liberal justices expressed some real concern about the expansion of presidential power here and what this would mean beyond the FTC going down the road here. The court's conservative justices said it's about time we go about overturning what's called Humphrey's Executor, that 1935 law, and going forward and doing this right now. Here's a mix of what we heard today.
You're asking us to destroy the structure of government and to take away from Congress its ability to protect its idea that the government is better structured with some agencies that are independent.
If the FTC, the MSPB, the NLRB are made subject to political process and the political discipline of being accountable to the president, the sky will not fall. In fact, our entire government will move towards accountability to the people.
We expect a decision in this case, Emily, by the end of June.
Okay, Misty, so let's talk bigger picture here. We're talking about an individual's firing, but this is also about limits around presidential power.
Absolutely. It goes far beyond just the FTC and slaughter as it relates to her termination. So this is about that 1935 precedent that Gary just spoke about called Humphrey's Executor. And that case affirmed that presidents cannot fire commissioners from these independent agencies unless there is a cause. Now, the critical question before the court, is that constitutional, or do these firings fall under the Article 2 power? So there's several other cases of termination at different agencies. Gary laid those out. Those will be directly impacted by this decision. But there's also 20 plus other independent agencies created by Congress. Keyword, independent. They're not supposed to be where the president's whims can change who is in positions of power. So that's how expansive, if the court goes the way of the administration, the result could be very expansive when it comes to all of those administrative agencies.
Yeah, on that point, let's dig into that a little bit more. So let's say there is a ruling in favor of President Trump. Looking down the line here, what kind of impact could you foresee?
Well, so it's twofold, right? Because in the oral arguments yesterday, one is it seems pretty clear the court is poised to say the president has the ability to make this change at the FTC. But will they go so far as to overturn Humphrey's Executor, that precedent? If they do, the argument is that other areas where there are similar removal statutes, like the tax court, the court of claims, they could be subject to similar arguments. So presidential power could actually expand beyond even the administrative agencies into other entities. And of course, the idea that the president's whims could dictate how these independent agencies actually do their work is something that is of concern and was raised in yesterday's oral arguments.
And Gary, before you go, let's talk what will be in discussion today. Today, the court will take up arguments on a case that's a major challenge to campaign finance regulations. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the big question before the court today is how much money a political party's committee can spend in support of a political candidate. Under a current law, a party can spend money on behalf of a candidate, but it cannot spend unlimited funds in coordination with the candidate. And those words are really going to be important here. Right now, the limit is about $4 million for Senate races, $127,000 for House races. And conservatives, including now Vice President J.D. Vance, actually have a real stake in this because he was one of the challengers when he ran in 2022 out in Ohio. He's one of the challengers in this Supreme Court case. This is not dissimilar to the 2010 Supreme Court ruling we saw in Citizens United that allowed unlimited spending from outside groups in political campaigns.
A lot to watch for. Gary Grumbach and Misty Maris, thanks so much for joining us this morning. So for more on this bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery, let's bring in Todd Spangler. He is the business editor at Variety. Todd, good morning to you. Walk me through the details of Paramount's offer and why the company is being so aggressive in its bid for Warner Brothers Discovery.
So Paramount came out on Monday, yesterday, and they said, look, we offered $30 a share for the entire company. And it's 100% cash. So this is a better deal for Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders, better than the Netflix bid. That's what they're claiming here. And, you ask, why is David Ellison being so aggressive about this? It's really a once-in-a-generation opportunity to get some of these really premium assets. It's one of the biggest Hollywood studios. They've got declining but still very powerful TV brands like CNN, TBS, Food Network. And the Ellison camp is saying, look, we're going to buy the whole company. We're going to supercharge all parts of the business. And by the way, we are more friendly to movie theaters than Netflix is.
Yeah, so as you said, Paramount has said Warner Brothers would face an easier path to approval over the Netflix deal. How would the regulatory approval processes be different?
Well, so the Netflix deal is not only horizontal, meaning, they would acquire HBO Max and expand their streaming footprint along their huge base of more than 300 million subscribers for the Netflix proper service. But it would also be vertical in that it would expand Netflix's business into production side. They don't have a full-fledged movie studio the way that Warner Brothers Pictures is. So for the Paramount Skydance offer, that would be, strictly horizontal. It would be combining assets that each side already has. So is one cleaner than the other? Again, as commentators have said, including President Trump, it depends on what regulators feel might cross the threshold of too much power. So the Paramount side, David Ellison says, look, this would give Netflix unprecedented market share in the streaming world, which is where the whole entertainment industry is going. They argue that, look, if we couple up with Warner Brothers Discovery, we will be roughly the size of Disney, so we're not going to be as big of a threat in terms of market control and anti-competitive factors like that.
And I think on top of the regulatory process, Paramount also claims that its all-cash offer is better than Netflix's deal for both Warner Brothers Discovery investors and Hollywood at large. So why is that, and how could each of these deals affect the entertainment industry looking bigger picture here?
Yeah, that is definitely spin from the Paramount executives. Who do you believe, right? Netflix says, look, we are definitely pro-consumer. We're pro-creator. This will give us a chance to bring even more TV shows and movies to our members worldwide. It'll give us different ways of packaging these different services. Netflix is pledged to not only continue to release Warner Brothers movies in theaters, but also to continue producing, entertainment for third parties. This is a new business for Netflix, and they say, look, we're not going to buy these Warner Brothers properties just to, choke them off and squeeze them down to nothing. That doesn't make any sense. So that's definitely an incredible argument. But David Ellison is trying to sell to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders that, look, we are movie makers. We are in this business. We have years of experience doing this. And, we know what filmmakers need. We know what all the constituents are looking for in terms of the economic value that this major entertainment company provides.
Yeah, everyone putting their best pitch forward at the time. President Trump, as you mentioned, has said that he will be involved with the merger regardless of which offer wins. So what role could the president play, and how unusual is this?
Yeah, it's really not typical for a president to say, look, I'm going to get personally involved in the approval of a deal like this. But Trump, has broken all kinds of precedents. And, I think he thinks of himself as the deal maker in chief. He wants to be looked at as the kingmaker here. And, I think he's trying to convey that he wants to be fair. He wants to do what's right. But at the end of the day, really, it's about Trump being in the center of approving this major deal that has implications for the industry and for consumers around the world.
Well, we'll all be tuning into this one. Todd Spangler, thanks so much for joining me this morning.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.